Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be interviewing Danny Baker. He is a race car driver and owns an exotic car dealership.
So your first question here is a perfect question to start with. How, a little bit about me and how I got started. So my name's Danny Baker. You know that, but
Yeah.
for anybody else that sees this, they may not. I'm in the car business. So cars are my whole world, and it's pretty simple how I got involved. My dad's a different business, and I think people expected me to follow in his footsteps, but I didn't. And I got some advice that basically, there's money in everything. Do what you love and learn how to make money at it. And so that's pretty simple advice, but I got that at a young age and kind of took it to heart and basically said, "Hey, Dad, I'm going to buy and sell cars. I like cars. I want to be in the car business." I grew up in a small town and I got a job kind of at a small town Chevrolet dealership in early high school, kind of on the weekends and after school and stuff like that. And just kind of got to see how a proper car dealership functions. And that was a great experience. And then I got a dealer's license when I was 17. Um, and that led to just all kinds of stuff, going to auctions, buying and selling cars, and tinkering, if you will, with cars kind of on the side. And then through high school, I ended up going to and continuing to work in the car business a little bit here and there. And then in college, I got a job at a Mercedes dealership as their internet manager. And it was kind of funny because back then, car salespeople and most car dealerships didn't have very many computers. In fact, my first day, my job was to basically build them a website and, post cars online, which
Yeah.
they didn't have a computer for me. I showed up and I'm like, here I am. And they're like, great, go to work. I'm like, well, if I'm going to be doing stuff on the internet, I need a computer. And they're like, oh, good point. So that was a long time ago. But that led to me working with Lamborghini. I worked for Lamborghini at the dealership level for about 4 years and then started my own dealership, Exotic Motors Midwest. And then that is kind of how I got hooked up with Marshall Goldman and I Buy Luxury Cars. And basically we merged our businesses together. And I've known the Goldman family for a long time. They're really good people and was excited for the opportunity to work with them. They're kind of like the gold standard in our business. That dealership is, it's known all over the world. So it's exciting for me to be a part of that. And that's it. So then along the way, I'm buying and selling cars, working in the car business. But at the same time, I started to buy some cars personally, cars I could play with and drive a little bit. And that led to a big relationship with Ferrari. And then I had an opportunity to start racing with Ferrari in the Challenge Series. And that was like a bucket list, dream come true thing for me. I raced with them for 6 years. I'm definitely not done. I've raced a little bit with Mercedes, raced a few other things in Audi, Volkswagen, and eventually I'll probably do some other stuff. It's hard, but the cool thing about racing in 2022, you can race when you're 15 years old, or you can race when you're 65 years old. I know guys that are 75 years old or more, that do some vintage driving and some gentlemen's racing. So it's kind of one of those sports that you can do your whole life. So by me being in my late 30s, taking a couple of years off, I can easily get back into it and down the road and do some more of that. So it's cool. It's awesome. It's really cool. I did my training with Ferrari with Corsa Plota. I did a Skip Barber 3-day racing school at Road America in Wisconsin, which was really cool. I did that prior to doing my training with Ferrari. I've done quite a few driving experiences and training with AMG, with Mercedes. Highly recommend their program. Ferrari's program is amazing too, but it's extremely expensive. Mercedes is much more cost effective, as is the Skip Barber thing. So on one hand, I'm always working. My phones are always on. I'm always doing deals, talking to customers. It kind of the business never sleeps, but luckily created a situation where I'm able to kind of do that from anywhere. So that's a really cool thing. I'm very blessed and happy to be able to do that. But it took 20 years of working 60 to 80 hours a week in a traditional car dealership environment, to get to where I am now. So I get that. But
So when you were younger, did you really know if you wanted to just sell cars and like buy cars and like do that, or did you want to get into like the racing and like, so did you want to get into the racing, or was that just kind of a dream and wished you got there, or did you just kind of want to buy and sell cars with your own company?
Yeah, that's a great question. I just wanted to be in the business. I didn't really know what that meant. Um, the thing with racing, there's a big misconception that, if you're really good at racing, somebody's going to pay you to get in a car and go around in circles on the track. And that's just simply not true. Less than one, I don't know the exact numbers, but probably less than 1/1000% of the race car drivers are actually paid to be in a car. Most people like me pay to be in the car, pay to have the car, pay a team to take care of it and all that. So where I'm going with that is it's expensive. It's really expensive. So, figuring out how to pay for it, that was the first hurdle. And I just expected I wouldn't be able to do it until much, much later in life. But to go back and answer your question, did I always know what I wanted to do in the car business? No, I just liked, for many years, especially early in my career, I just liked being in that environment. I like the smell of a car dealership. I like the lights. I like the energy. I like the people coming and going. I liked deals being done. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. So what is like the fastest car you drove, or like the coolest car, your favorite car, like that kind of thing?
Yeah, it always changes the favorite car, but I've been pretty blessed to drive just about everything. I mean, I've driven every Ferrari, pretty much every modern day Ferrari that you can dream of. Driven an Enzo, driven a LaFerrari, driven many different Bugattis, drove a Pagani, drove a Koenigsegg. Um, I don't know. My favorite car to drive, it changes. It always changes. It's probably not what you would think. It's probably not a hypercar because as cool as that is, they're very there's a lot going on. It's a lot of money, it's a lot of liability, and it's a lot of stress. Driving
Yeah.
a couple $1 million car around and people trying to take pictures and all that stuff. But I would say my favorite car to drive is and will forever be a race car on a racetrack. Um, I don't really drive many of my cars. I have a good number of personal cars. Uh, I have an F8 Spider. I drive a little bit. I really love that car, but I only have a couple hundred miles on it. I've had it about 9 months. I've had every new Ferrari, a bunch of 48s and F12s, F12 TDF, 550 Maranellos, 575, 599s, all the V8 cars, basically from the 80s through today. Had an Enzo for a couple of years. I drove that around quite a bit in California during Car Week one year. But I really like driving SUVs, trucks. Grew up in the country, so I like trucks and just kind of like utilitarian stuff. That's what I have a Dodge Ram pickup. I drive that a lot, and I have a Mercedes. It's called the E450 All Terrain. It's a wagon, and it's all-wheel drive. It's kind of like an Audi all-road with the big fender flares and four-wheel drive. But mine's matte gray, and it's kind of cool. And so my kids can fit in the back. They can get in and out easy. It's good to run errands. I really love that. I have a G63. I don't drive it very much. My wife drives an X7. We use that a lot. I like trucks and SUVs. Trying to get a new Bronco. I ordered it 2 years ago. Still don't have it. I'm looking forward to that.
All right. So is there something about you that most people wouldn't know, like a fact or anything?
Oh, I think there's probably a lot. But I read your questions prior to our call, and I thought about what I would say to the answer for this question, and what would be appropriate. So, I think my family's a big deal. I really enjoy being a dad and my kids. It's just like the coolest thing I've ever done. But something that most people wouldn't know about me is that I am, and especially at other times in the past, a big fan of Joel Osteen. Do you know who that is?
No.
So Joel Osteen is basically like a televangelist or a preacher, like a TV. He runs a massive church, one of the largest churches in the world in Houston, Texas. Joel, I think his gift in the world because he's a very good storyteller and he's very good at making people feel good about themselves. And so that's something that's super important in sales, in the car business, and also in life in general. There's definitely some difficult challenges early in my career and starting my own business. That was extremely, extremely difficult. But, and I thought, hey, it's just, why did this, why is this happen? Why is it so hard? Why is it not working out for me? Why, basically a 10-year period, very, very difficult period in business. And the thing about Joel is he kind of convinces you that it doesn't matter. The way that you go through life, different than other people, your path, it doesn't matter. So run your own race and stay in your own lane and not worry about what everybody else is doing.
All right. So what is a challenge you faced in your life and how did you overcome it?
So my challenges have primarily been business. So I started my own business, and the first couple of years were just brutal. I mean, just absolutely brutal. We could buy cars and sell cars and make money, but there's so many things, especially being that young, very difficult to borrow money. It seemed like we constantly had problems with employees and turnover and just problems. Cars get transported all over the country. They get damaged in transport. You end up having to pay for that. You got customers trying to, screw you over. You get scammed. I mean, in our business, especially buying cars over the internet across the country, there's a lot of scammers out there. There's a lot of fraud. And we got scammed on 2 really big deals in the first 5 years of my career, or my dealership. And, we had insurance for one, but the other one we didn't. And it just very complicated. I think the biggest thing to take away from that is that life is not fair and everybody has their own challenges. Some challenges are health. Some challenges are relationships, marriages, kids, addictions, money, business. I could go on and on and on and on and on. But that's kind of like why I say run your own race, because everybody's going through something different, whether it's positive or negative or both. Nobody's life is perfect, and that's okay.
All right. So to finish it off, what advice would you have for kids going through a hard time such as cancer or something like that?
Well, that's a difficult question because, knock on wood, I haven't ever had to go through anything like that. I haven't had any serious medical challenges in my life or my immediate family. So I don't know what that's like. I can't sit here and tell you that I do.
Yeah.
I've definitely gone through difficult challenges in life. But as I mentioned earlier, mainly business, mainly financial, mainly that kind of stuff, which is just different. And, but I do have a bunch of friends, and my wife's best friend went through cancer and has beat cancer now 3rd time. And it's a family we're extremely close to. And I do know several other people and kids have been through difficult battles with cancer. And the advice, the main advice that I would have is positive mental attitude. There's so many things in life that you cannot control. You can't control so much, but that's okay. So focus on the things that you can control. And so in the case of Christy Davis, my wife's really good friend and my good friend, she was blessed with an amazing attitude and very positive energy perpetually. Why that is, I don't know, but it's amazing. And you seem to have a very similar gift. And I can tell you that helped her completely beat cancer now for the 3rd time. And I don't know that everybody else could do that. It's such a difficult challenge that you're faced with and that she was faced with. But the idea that she just believed she could conquer it, believed that she could go on and live a happy, healthy life. And, she had to go through some very, very difficult, painful challenges, but throughout it, she just knew that she would overcome and controlled her thoughts and stayed extremely positive, and very difficult to see, but she did. And so I guess that would be my advice for you is, keep your head up, stay positive. I think from the little I know, you're doing a great job with that. And that's hard. So that's, you should be commended for that. It's not easy to do.
Yeah, I think a positive attitude can help a lot.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for letting me interview you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you for your time. If you have any questions or anything comes up, let me know.